Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you are all having an incredible day. To start things off, it came and it already went. All eyes were on Litecoin's price the 5th of August as its block reward halving failed to excite the markets and produced considerable gains for investors. Here's a little chart right here. Data from Coin360 showed Litecoin, which is the 5th largest cryptocurrency by market cap, trading at around $104 on Monday, a few hours after the halving took place. Once the process completes, miners will gain just 12.5 Litecoin per block of mine transactions, instead of the usual 25 Litecoin. While not guaranteed, this increased scarcity has the ability to push up the price of the token. Cointelegraph reported on anticipation building prior to Bitcoin's next halving in May 2020. For Litecoin, the halving did finally deliver a boost, with Litecoin to the US dollar gaining over 13% over the past 24 hours. So, for those who don't know, Litecoin shot up sometime around this morning, almost minutes before the actual activation change was going to take place. It took place, and then since then, Litecoin has been kind of moving down. It is no longer up 13%. A lot of people were saying before that they thought that potentially the pricing had already been priced in for Litecoin's reward being cut in half. There were many analysts also saying that they thought that the half said, rather around like a good 70 to 30. 70 said they thought that the gains had already been priced in. And another 30% said that they think that eventually, as the market ends up moving up and more people are trying to gobble up more altcoins, that they may then realize, oh, hey, just remembered, Litecoin has also had a reward being cut in half, and therefore we should probably get some of that, and therefore potentially later on, this will be the moment when Litecoin will shoot up in price. I mentioned before, I hope everyone paid close attention as far as getting your hopes up. I saw a lot of people talking about a $150 Litecoin, $200 Litecoin as the reward was getting closer. Litecoin is not in the news as much anymore. I know that makes a couple of people a little sad, but it's down to marketing, it's down to actual usage. There are people definitely, most certainly using Litecoin, but the Litecoin team, as I've mentioned many times before, they're trying to sell cufflinks. They're trying to put their posters on walls at fighting events. They're trying to be so-and-so for baseball and this team and so on. They don't have the same marketing as many other things do. Kind of is what it is. I assume with Litecoin floating around, what is it, 94, 95, something, $98. Wonderful. Floating around there as the markets, or rather when we do eventually finally have alt season. Eventually, Litecoin will probably surpass its previous all-time high, which I believe was $324. I don't know the exact amount. In 2017, Litecoin went from $4 to around 300 and some change. So one can only assume, should we have another altcoin season, that Litecoin will probably, no one knows for certain, at least 10x. If you go from $4 to 300, one can only assume that you can at least do a 10x in price, especially with how crazy cryptocurrency prices end up going. I don't know about any long-term prospects for Litecoin. I think a lot of the narrative for people holding Litecoin has diminished, in my opinion, and also just from what I've been reading. As far as Litecoin was usually seen as a test net for Bitcoin. Bitcoin now has multiple test nets that are actually being used. Not really much more to say. I hope everyone traded accordingly or made sure that they knew when the halving was going to be so that they were able to cash out of Litecoin should they have found the need to do so. Like I said, I assume things will move back up, but don't expect a $400 Litecoin within the next couple of weeks. It may take some time. It may take more marketing. It may take just a couple more people out there realizing that they want to hold Litecoin. Who knows? But without further ado, let's move on. Also, something that went relatively unnoticed as it is digital and we can't really see the actual moment happening. Ethereum has actually celebrated its 4th anniversary. It's been around for around just over 4 years. It says Ethereum celebrated its 4th anniversary from the Genesis block on the 31st of July. That is a week ago, Japan time. initially attracted attention as a smart contract platform with a huge degree of freedom, different from the difficult structure and Bitcoin script. But can it be launched in the first place? This was wow, okay, whoever wrote this article, bless their heart. That is not even remotely correct English. The point is, Ethereum is now 4 years old as well. It went completely unnoticed. I think a lot of people are just, it could be because of the market. It could be because of life. A lot of people are just focused on the prices right now. A lot of people are trying to figure out exactly where these things are going to go. They're going to go up or going to go down. Obviously, however, there's a lot of indications that because Bitcoin has continuously bounced off the $10,000 number and continues to try and go higher, that we could be trying to potentially make new all-time highs in the relative near future. And I think everyone is just kind of focused on, because we've also had information before from the people from Ethereum that apparently in the very beginning of next year, that Ethereum is supposed to upgrade and have all the other stuff that we were promised in 2017 and 18. I think people are more focused on that, not so much the actual birth date of Ethereum. But yeah, Ethereum, I guess two landmarks, why do I never find the words? This is so frustrating. Special events have happened within a week of each other. Ethereum was made 4 years ago, and Litecoin's reward has been cut in half, and the next one is in 2023. Let's see if that one makes more of a splash. I mean, by that point, and I'm going to be 30,000% honest with you, if by that point Litecoin hasn't really made it, I don't think it ever will. 4 years is quite a bit away, especially as the event just took place today. We'll see. And happy late birthday, Ethereum. What do you say to a cryptocurrency after it's had a birthday? No idea. Next up, mounting economic uncertainty around the world is creating a perfect storm for Bitcoin, according to a crypto research firm known as Delphi Digital. In a summary of its new quarterly macro outlook, Delphi Digital says trouble in traditional markets is boosting the price of Bitcoin in 2019. The summary cites a long list of macro issues creating a tailwind for Bitcoin, including trade wars, slowing global growth, negative yielding debt, and new stimulus measures. They said, and I do quote, "It's easy to see how people get lost in the mayhem of markets when there are just some of the notable trends investors face today. Amid the chaos, the second quarter of 2019 was marked by a few key narrative shifts with significant implications for both traditional markets and crypto going forward. A key reason behind Bitcoin's outperformance in the recent months is the strengthening narrative around its value position as digital gold. The macro backdrop that's emerging is a perfect storm for Bitcoin to thrive, as it has a potential to benefit from both secular and cyclical trends in the coming years." End quote. Delphi Digital says the myriad of macro issues governments around the world are confronting isn't a sign that markets are doomed. But researchers say these factors are giving investors a strong incentive to seek alternative forms of investment, which have the potential to outperform the markets in times of slow economic growth. First of all, backtracking, it is widely believed that what we are experiencing right now in traditional financial markets could be not the end-all of end-all, but we are on the precipice, is that a thing, of walking off the cliff. Because far too many countries around the world are having the exact same problems at the exact same times. A lot of the problems that we are seeing more clearly now have been visible from around 2 years ago, and it appears right now that there's not enough makeup to cover up those cracks anymore in the financial system. It's quite interesting. We've seen Bitcoin doing fairly well or responding positively whenever the markets around the world were not doing too well, and a lot of them are showing huge bubble signs. They continue growing even after people are pulling out of their money. And just not great news all around. However, it's going to continue being a very interesting, I don't even want to say quarter 2 or quarter 3. I think the rest of the year is going to be a big, can Bitcoin do it kind of thing. Once again, between the trade wars, China and the US not doing too well with each other. They're not holding hands anymore. Slowing economic growth across the board. Brexit. Elections that have happened this year around the world that aren't doing too well. There's just a lot going on, and the markets are not liking it too much. But Bitcoin thus far has been moving upward as a lot of this has been going on. We'll see. This is a very definitive year, I want to say, for Bitcoin in the wider cryptocurrency space. But without further ado, let's move on. This almost ties directly into it. The Chinese yuan has hit an 11-year low against the US dollar because of all of the stuff that's been happening in the news as of late. I'm not going to even go into complete specifics because there's a lot to unpack. And I've realized on the channel before, whenever I start talking about China, I look down and I've been talking for about a good 20-something minutes. So I will spare you my my rambling. However, it appears that right now, there's a lot of speculation. People were trying to figure, I think it has a chart somewhere around here. I think that was it. Nope, that was it. Wait, where was it? Somewhere around here. Give me a second. This, maybe, yeah. So people were speculating as to why this morning, when the Asian markets were very active before the Western countries had fully awoken, why the price of Bitcoin had shot up and many other over-the-counter markets in China while they were producing a large amount of volume. And a lot of people think that because the Chinese yuan has continued to fall compared to the US dollar, it could be because of fear of the markets. It could be because of the devaluation of the yuan from the Chinese government themselves to make the country seem more attractive against the US dollar, and also for other investors to put their money into the country. No one knows exactly what it is, but the price of Bitcoin has moved up by $1,000 over the course of a couple of hours, and it could be because of this. We are in a very reactionary market. It is full of speculation, and should anything end up happening in the news, Bitcoin usually is moved in some other direction. Not really much more to say. This is just part of the reason people were asking why Bitcoin had gone up. Like I said, people think that we may be trying to make a move once again to 14,000 where we were previously. However, people think that because of the current economic issues around the world, and they're in the news all the time. I don't know if you watch traditional news outlets or even wherever you may get your news, they typically have probably spoken about something that has to do with the economies around the world. They're not doing very well. And it looks like as time goes on and more analysts continue to come forward, they all have the same typical phrase, and they say, things aren't looking too well. They didn't look well before, but now they're really not looking well. And I feel like something's going to happen this year. And this is what they say, not me personally. I mean, who knows when it's going to happen. But anyway, this is part of the speculation as to why Bitcoin is going up today, as it is part of the perfect storm for all of the ridiculous things that are happening around the world. Next up, blockchain platform founder of TRON, his name is Justin Sun, has announced that the first version of the TRON scalability solution called the Sun Network will be released on the 10th of August. That is 5 days away. In his tweet, Sun claimed that the first version of the network will allow for 100x scalability in the building of decentralized applications on sidechains. For those of you who do not know, well, there was a little mini war that kind of went on between TRON and EOS last year, where they were desperate to say whose blockchain was faster. And I think, according to the numbers that were released, TRON ended up winning. We don't know if those numbers are correct, but apparently they were trying to spam the network as much as possible to see how much the network could actually handle. I believe EOS was capable of doing anywhere from 1,800 to around 3,000 transactions per second. And the people from TRON claimed that during their tests, I think it was anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000 transactions per second. So the claim that in 5 days, something called the Sun Network will be activated and will allow TRON to do 100x scalability is a major claim. According to the Sun Network's official website, to which Sun's tweet was linked, the new sidechain system will feature free transactions, 100 times lower fees, decentralized application support, and faster transaction confirmation. Furthermore, the Sun Network will allegedly allow for longer smart contract execution times and interchain withdrawals and deposits. According to another section of the aforementioned website, it says, Sun Network is also designed to provide unlimited capacity for TRON mainnet network to support the growing number of transactions, end quote. Sun adds a new version of 1.0 of the new network will allow TRON developers to build a dApp chain. All right. So if you've been here for a while, and even if you haven't, you maybe know how I feel about TRON and a couple of other coins. I won't throw dirt on them right now. There are a lot of coins I think that do not need to exist. However, and I say this with the most honesty, if you can do it, do it. Part of the issue of 2018 that I had with many cryptocurrency projects that were launching, not naming any names, was that they launched and said that we are better than Bitcoin, we are better than XRP, we are better than Ether, we are better than Litecoin, we are better than so and so. And they said we are better and faster because we can do this many transactions. We can do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to have this, and we're going to have that. A lot of the claims were not true. A lot of the things that they said were based off of future upgrades to the platform. So like I said, while I may not be a, what are they called, Tronites, Trononians, Tronominoms, while I may not be one of them, if Tron is capable, however, of actually doing, well, what would that, I'll even give it a lower number. Even if Tron is able to do 50,000 transactions properly, and other developers in the cryptocurrency community test it, see that it works, and Tron actually has the adoption that they claimed they were going to have, especially because we were also told, never forget, that Tron's network would have exploded in popularity and usage after the implementation and the linking up between of Tron and the BitTorrent token network. So, if this does happen, or when it does happen, it's more like a wait and see type thing. This is not the first time that we have heard things such as this or like this from Justin Sun. But I would say, just because of previous events, try not to hold your breath because you might pass out. That's just all I'm going to say. But like I said, if it's, I would love for there to be a cryptocurrency out there that's capable of currently doing 50,000 transactions per second. That means we could have games, we could have proper apps. That's as many transactions, if I'm not mistaken, as Visa or MasterCard, one of the major names in the financial world. So they can do it, go for it. But on the 11th of this month, we are talking about the Sun Network, and it hasn't worked out. Don't be too surprised. To kind of finish things off, Thailand's anti-money laundering regulator is planning to amend the country's laws to include cryptocurrencies. Speaking to the Bangkok Post, Police Major General Precha, Secretary General of the Anti-Money Laundering Office, AMLO, said he believes that, while currently not an issue, cryptocurrency will be a tool of new money laundering. I'm glad that he knows the future. Precha said that AMLO currently does not receive complaints around money laundering involving cryptocurrencies, but warned. He said, "We may not find any clue, but that doesn't mean the wrongdoing does not occur." Which means he's looking for a problem. He's looking for an issue. He's making sure to find this is it's just madness at this point. The Secretary General argued that criminals will increasingly turn to digital assets to conceal their ill-gotten proceeds. Always pay attention to the terms and phrases that people use when it comes to cryptocurrencies. You may have noticed before, a bit of the narrative has changed a bit, tiny bit. What we had before, especially around 2016 and 17, was that people kept on mentioning that anyone who used cryptocurrencies, they were doing something illegal. They were doing something heinous. They were doing something illicit. Whatever they were doing was completely wrong and they should not be touching crypto. And now what it's changed to is that criminals are the bad guys. Criminals are figuring out ways to do things, wrongdoing, and governments don't see it, but they're looking for it, which means that they're looking for a problem that may not even really exist. Because why? Because we've had other situations before where other many analytics firms have come forward and they've done years, about a good year or two, even 6 months worth of research into the cryptocurrency space and exactly if they could track transactions for certain coins and where these transactions were going, who was buying them, who was selling them, who was so and so and so. And they usually find either no problems or very few problems, or that at the same exact time when other people are figuring out exactly how many issues there are in accordance with the US dollar being used in illicit activities, that the US dollar is usually used a gargantuan amount of times more than actual cryptocurrencies. To prepare for this shift, he told the Bangkok Post he plans to alter the country's laws to bring cryptos into the anti-money laundering regime, starting with the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Logically, one would only assume. The point is, this is another country who has come forward with cryptocurrency rules, which is what it is. I won't even say the word great. But a lot of countries, and this is what I mentioned before, I think maybe a lot of countries have gotten the memo that you are going to be left behind if you are not part of this. But they're still trying to make sure that they control everything as much as possible, which is not going to happen. They will find out in a couple of years that they can't control the space. You can't control Bitcoin. And especially even right now, I doubt that any country or multiple countries are going to band together to try and gain over 51% control of the network. The economic incentives are just not there. And also, it was like over $1 trillion to be able to kind of even think of doing that to the network. So no real silver lining here, except for the country is going to have the same exact rules that normal fiat currencies fall under as far as like banking services, banking practices. But it just kind of bothers me that people look for problems. You look for wrongdoing, even if there isn't any there, and you look for you just believe in the awfulness of people, that people just have to be doing something illegal. And even more so, what we've seen before in the past is that usually a lot of countries, if you like look through their laws and stuff like that, or even like what they've said about cryptocurrencies, is that they don't want people using crypto at all, because like, what was the one thing that they were talking about before? There was something that had to do with like, oh, we didn't want to use because blah, 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 blah was going to happen, or we didn't so-and-so, blah, blah. And like, it usually comes down to the fact that, especially like in Venezuela, people are usually using cryptocurrencies to like buy diapers, to buy food, to buy shoes, to go to work, to buy something from Subway. And it's like, that's illegal. That's detrimental to your economy. Like, that is the illegal wrongdoings because you've banned it, because you've said it's wrong. Other people can't eat now. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for that section. Here's the actual article right here from the Bangkok Post. Almost dropped my phone on the floor. And yeah, as always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters: Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Strange Radio Central, Milweezy, Damien, wow, okay, Bankroll Network, almost died, Master Ventures in Thailand, Cryptopolis, 242 to the World, Triple M and J, My Keto Kitchen, Assam M. El Zofri, Adobo, Crypto and Beer Shipmate, Brady Niels, El Doug, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, Crypto Joe, Mohair Maroney, Carl Birchenoff, singer-songwriter Mike Savitz, Rai, Yasha Harari, Amy Starsheen, Jeffrey Ramsey, Clara T. Snowden, crypto artist Cole D3D, Nicholas, One Earth, One Piece, One Love, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich the Third, RF Dusty, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Tom Sucks at Basketball, and Sam Keeps Skipping Leg Day, Jeremy the Photographer, Jim Gardner, Minty Coins, Arthur Yaku, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, and Mechanic. Thank you all very much for your support. At the moment, Bitcoin is about $50 more than it was earlier today. It looks like we're trying to make a break to 12,000. Not really holding my breath, but it looks like, I mean, to be fair, I also didn't expect the little jump up that we had last night. At the moment, Litecoin is currently at 98 US dollars. It was up around 13%, but you can see this dip right here. I think a lot of the hype has already, if there was any hype, has fled. Like, it was the actual moments before the reward was going to get cut in half. That's when this started to go up. And immediately after, you see this like this sideways line, and then it started to dip. So, like, I mean, it kind of is what it is. Nearly all the coins are still green. Nice to see, as far as US dollar-wise or fiat-wise. But they're all in bright red Satoshi-wise because people are selling off their crypto or their altcoins in order to buy more Bitcoin in anticipation for Bitcoin moving higher. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.